Pleasant day to all of us. This is Desirie from BSTM 1C Day, and now I am going to discuss about the buying behavior of the consumers. When we're buying a product, we really have that different behavior where we observe the product. When do we buy that product? Why do we buy that product? And for what reason do we buy that product, and much more. So what's the definition of consumer buying behavior? So according to Blackwell, Engel, and Monsard, consumer behavior is the action and the decision processes of people who purchase goods and services for personal consumption. In general, consumer buying behavior refers to the customers and how they behave while deciding to buy a product that satisfies their needs. Consumer market. When we say consumer market, it refers to all personal consumption of the final customer. To make it more understandable, consumer market is selling things or services to individuals for personal use and advertising these goods and services through various marketing tactics, including exploiting consumer data for tailored experiences. There are 4 factors that influence consumer behavior: the cultural, social, personal, and psychological behavior. The first consumer behavior is the cultural factor. Culture plays a very vital role on determining the consumer behavior, and it is divided into 3 divisions. The first one is the culture. Culture is a very complex belief on human behavior. It includes the human society, the roles that the society plays, and the behavior of the society, and its various of customs and traditions. The second division of cultural factors is the subculture. Subculture is a group of people who shares the same values, customs, and tradition. And you can define them as the nation, the religion, the social groups, and also the groups of people sharing the same geographic location. And the last one is the social class. Society possesses social class. In fact, every society possesses one, and it is important to know what social class is being targeted, as normally the buying behavior of social class is quite similar. Remember, not just income, but even other factors describe social class as a group of consumers. The second consumer behavior is the social factors. And social factors are also subdivided into the following. The first one is the reference groups. Under social factors, reference groups have a great potential of influencing consumer behavior. The impact of it varies the brand and the product. And this group includes an opinion leader, which is good. And the next one is the family. The behavior of a consumer is not only influenced by their motivations and their personalities, but also to their relatives and also for their families. Next is the roles and status. People who belong to a different organization, groups, or club members, families, play roles have a status to maintain. These roles and status that they have to maintain also influences consumer behavior as they decided to spend accordingly. The third consumer behavior is the personal factor. A number of personal factors also influence the consumer behavior. In fact, this is one of a major factor that influences consumer behavior. And the sub-factors under personal factors are listed below. And one of that is the age and life cycle stages. With this age and life cycle, the consumer purchase opinions and the motive of purchase changes. With this decision of buying the product change. Next is the occupation. Occupation of a consumer affects the goods and services that consumer buys. The occupation groups has above the average interest in buying different products and services offered by the organization. In fact, organizations produce separate products for different occupational groups. Next is the financial and economic situation. Everything can be bought and sold with the help of money. If the economic situation of a consumer is not good or stable, it will affect his purchase power. Next is lifestyle. People originating from different cultures, subcultures, occupation, and even social class have different styles of living. Lifestyle can confirm the interests, opinions, and activities of people. And different lifestyles affect the purchase pattern of the consumers. Next is the self-concept and personality. Every individual is different and have different and distinct personalities. Their distinct personalities and distinct psychology affects their buying decision. Hence, the purchase of product and services refers from person to person. And the last consumer behavior is the psychological factor. Psychological factor affects consumer behavior very strongly. Let's look at them in detail. First is the motivation. Motivation is activating the internal needs and requirements of the consumer. It can also be described as goals and needs of the consumer. Motivation arouses and affects the consumer towards a certain goal. These needs can be psychological needs, needs of security, social needs, esteem needs, and also self-actualizing needs. Next is the perception. Perception is sensing the world and the situation and then taking the decision accordingly. And every individual looks at the world and the situation differently. And this is what makes the decision abilities separates. Next is the learning and experiences. Learning is the research of product and services before the consumer takes the decision of buying a product. Learning and experience plays an important role in influencing the consumer's behavior as it influences their purchase decision. Attitude is a consumer's favorable and unfavorable emotional condition or emotional feeling, and it is also a tendency of reaction to certain actions of behavior. Hence, attitudes and beliefs are also important and need to to be taken into consideration while studying human behavior. Now we'll discuss the buying behavior of the consumer and how it varies the purchase from product to product. Below are the 4 types of buying decision behavior explained with examples. The first factors of buying behavior is the complex buying behavior. When a person purchases a high-priced item, they engage in complex purchasing buying behavior. We don't buy expensive items very often in our daily lives. When it comes to purchasing, we take a keen interest in the process by extensively studying and searching the product. Example: a customer wants to consult with his friends, colleagues, and relatives, and when he's going to buy the product, he doesn't know about and unfamiliar with it. That's why the purchase decision involves huge risk for him because he's not familiar with many things. Next is dissonance reducing buying behavior. It is when a consumers display a high level of involvement due to the product's high price. Example: a consumer wants to buy a collapsible table for camping. He has to make a quick purchase decision about the product with limited available options. The customer would buy the product without doing sufficient research and inquiring information about it, and his main purpose is to buy a table to use it, and he's got enough information for the purchase. Next factor of buying behavior is the habitual buying behavior. It is when a consumer shows less interest in a buying decision. He is more interested and focused on the brand's differences. It usually happens when a customer buys daily routine items frequently and he doesn't pay much attention to it. Example: a customer wants to buy a Gucci bag. He would like to buy the products of the brands that he's already familiar with rather than experimenting with something new. The customer usually do not put a lot of thoughts and research into the habitual types of buying decision. Next is the variety-seeking buying decision. The interest of the consumer is very low in the variety-seeking buying behavior. Customers do not pay a lot of attention to the brand differences and they aren't loyal to any of the brands. Example: a customer goes out and buys a packet of cookies without paying much attention to the brand, even though they not like the products, but they'll try some other brands next time to try a new taste. I hope you enjoy my discussion. That's all for today. Bye!